not use your credit card to buy Balenciaga. It'll never be your money. It will never ever be your money. Run away from interest.
Fly.
Thank you. Fly away from interest. Yeah. Hi guys, and welcome back to Brandy Circle. Yes. So I'm Brandy or Onyede. So you call me Onyede or Brandy on this channel, and this is Olumide. Yes, this is my boyfriend Olumide, and today we're just going to be talking about credit cards. So what exactly is a credit card? Do you even need a credit card? Should you cut up your credit card? We're going to be talking about everything that relates to having a credit card.
All right, what is a credit card?
What is a credit card? It's my money. A credit card is my money. That's a big lie. It's not your money. It will never be your money. It will never ever be your money. Credit card is like, it basically looks like your regular debit card. It looks like your card that you just use and use to pay for like products, goods and services. But the only difference is that the money in a credit card is not yours. It's not yours. It's borrowed to you by a financial institution, and they expect you to pay back by the end of the month, or just depending on when your statement closing date is.
So it's for a limited time, so don't go crazy and max out your credit card.
Do not max out your credit card. That's bad for you.
They will come for you.
They will come for you. They don't care. They'll come for you. So what are the three most important things that we need to know about credit cards?
Well, actually, let's start with why do you need a credit card?
Okay, so why do we need a credit card?
Well, I think it's very important because, being in a credit-based society, it's very good to build your credit. It's like a credit card is one of the best ways to build your credit, like really fast or quick. And obviously, some people might actually need it because maybe their pay is not enough and they need to be able to afford some things. I'll say afford needs, not wants. Yeah, so basically, that's it. There are lots of reasons that people could get credit cards.
Yeah, so just going off what you said, it's a great way to build your credit. It's an easy way to build your credit. So far, you're paying back the money, which you have to be doing every month. Pay back your credit card, okay? So far, you're paying back your money. You're doing good on your credit. We're also going to teach you insider tips on how to grow your credit. If we haven't already mentioned this, guys, we're both credit card specialists. I mean, we've worked in credit card system, credit society, so we know our onions. I know we look cute and everything, but we know what we're saying, so you can choose to listen to us if you want. So moving on to why we need a credit card or tips.
So 3 important tips about your credit card, or 3 things you definitely need to know about your credit card. Very, very important. And the first one we'll start with is your statement closing date.
Your statement closing date.
Or your billing cycle date, because I'm sure if you guys already have credit cards, you probably see a billing cycle date,
Or statement closing date.
I'll let Brandy explain that one.
Okay, I can take it. Do you just push that to me intentionally? Okay, I'll take it. So a statement closing date is basically the day that your statement closes. Easy peasy. But what does that really mean? What is a statement even? So your statement is just a list of activities that you've carried out during the statement cycle or during the billing cycle. So the day that cycle cuts off, so the last day within that cycle, that is your statement closing date.
Or your billing cycle date, and that's the date that your statement is generated, and that's the date that you know exactly how much you need to pay on your payment due date. Okay,
so that's the day that you know how much you need to pay by your payment due date.
And also, in case you guys, maybe you have the credit card app open right now, so your billing cycle date typically is kind of fixed, but it varies depending on, it can never be on a weekend. So even if you see your billing cycle date as, let's say for example the 5th, if it's a weekend, it probably gets moved up to the next week. Typically on that day, that's when you get your statement and you see everything you spend your credit card on, and then the date that you need to pay back.
So hold up. If you don't already have your banking app or whatever financial institution you're working with, if you don't already have the app, pause this video right now and go download the app so you can follow through with exactly what we're saying in terms of your statement closing date. So what's the next thing we need to know?
And the next one is your payment due date, and typically
important.
vary because this is the date that you need to pay back.
Yeah.
And typically it's usually 21 business days after your statement closing date. And on your statement closing date, this is the date that you see the amount you need to pay on your payment due date. And the payment due date is typically the date that if you do not pay back in full, you could get interest.
You could, or you would get interest.
Yeah.
You'll definitely get interest if you don't pay back by your statement due date. Your payment due date.
Payment due date,
Yeah.
And another one.
The final thing, if you don't listen to anything that we discussed today, take down these 3 main points. So the first one we said was your
statement closing date.
The second one,
your payment due date.
And the final one,
your minimum payment.
Your minimum payment. Do you want to tell us what the minimum payment is?
Yeah, so basically this is the least amount that you need to, or the least payment that you need to make to your credit card, I'll say in a month, to make sure that your credit card is in, they say good standing, but I'll say okay standing.
Guys, I'm just going to interject right now. Okay, I'm going to give you insider tips, like I said, right, on how to maintain good credit and how to grow your credit score. Never pay just your minimum payment. The bank is going to tell you that it's okay, pay your minimum payments, do that. But paying your minimum payments means that you are only paid a percentage or a particular amount of the total amounts that you actually spent during the month.
Yeah.
And with just paying your minimum payments, you are going to get charged interest. Babe, is interest good?
Nope.
Interest isn't good.
It's not good.
Should they run away from interest, babe?
Yeah,
run away from interest.
Fly.
Thank you. Fly away from interest. Yeah. In other aspects of finances, interest might be acceptable, like in terms of getting a mortgage, a loan, big things like that. But for your credit card, interest isn't really on your side.
Yeah, it's not, because with the minimum payment, like we mentioned, on your statement closing date, this is when you know exactly how much you need to pay for your payment due date. So let's say, for example, you have $200 to pay on your payment due date. The bank can let you, or you probably, I'm sure if you have the app on, like you can see your minimum payment. And I know that in Canada, it's usually $10 for newer credit cards, or a percentage of your balance that you need to pay. And typically, the minimum payment that you pay might look like a good thing if you do not really understand.
It looks like, I really only have to pay back $10, but sis, in the long run, you have paid back so much more than you actually spent. And you'll
definitely get interest if you're paying the minimum payment. So if you can pay the full balance, we would advise that you pay the full balance and not the minimum payment.
Which is why we say that in terms of growing your credit and using your credit card for the sole purpose of growing your credit, only spend within the means of what you have.
Yes.
Do not use your credit card to buy Balenciagas. Don't use your credit card to go crazy shopping. Use your credit card to do things that you have enough money from your debit card to pay right back.
Yeah, and typically, this is not a fixed term, but I feel like whatever you make should be way more than your credit limit. 100%, because you cannot be spending way more than you can afford. And trust me, it's very easy to spend your credit card. I feel like there's this devil that when it comes to that card, you can easily max it out. It's crazy. So we would say make sure you can afford what you're spending.
Right. Make sure you can afford what you spend from your credit card. So I'm going to reiterate this again. The 3 main things that you should look out for is your statement closing date, your payment due date, and
your minimum payment.
Your minimum payment. Okay, so the reason why we're even talking about minimum payment anyway is because obviously we know that there are hard times. There are times that you might have overspent your credit card, and in that period you can't afford to pay it back by the payment due date. It's okay in that scenario, in that space, to pay just your minimum payments to be in an okay standing. So, but to be in a good standing, you have to be making your full balance, which is the balance that appears on your statement, on the statement closing date.
Yeah.
Babe, should they pay their balance anytime within the month?
Our advice, no.
No. You shouldn't, especially if you're trying to grow your credit.
Yeah.
So now we promised to give you insider tips. So this is insider tip number 2. Insider tip number 1 was about paying your full balance that shows up on your statement, not your minimum payments.
Yeah.
Now, insider tip number 2, especially if you're looking to grow your credit. Okay, are you ready? Are you ready for this one? I don't think they're ready. Should we tell them? Should we put them on? Let's just tell them. Let's just tell them. So, try to make the payment within your statement closing date and your payment due date. Let me tell you something. The bank is never going to tell you this. A lot of people think that if I spend the money today, I can go ahead and pay it off tomorrow. You can do that if you want, but for it to make a relevance on your statement, right? For it to make a relevance in growing your credit, they want to see that you owed so amount at the end of your statement and you paid back so amount before your due date. Because your credit file, right? They're gonna see that, oh, this person is actually a really good is really good in handling their debts, in handling their finances, right? Because you owed this amount. Let's say you owed $500 on the 25th, and before your due date, you were able to pay back the $500 in full. They like that. They like seeing that. And this is how you notice that your credit score is going up.
And something else I would say is, because I know that I've seen some people that they believe that when they need to pay back, they need to pay like half the full amount. You know that, let's say, like she mentioned, 25th is the statement closing date, and then you get a date where you need to pay for the next month. If you're going grocery shopping and you would normally use your debit card, maybe you have $150 to spend on grocery shopping, you know you can actually put that into your credit card and it will count as a payment after the 25th. So let's say the 26th you want to go grocery shopping, you can put $150 and you can spend it that same day and it will still count as a payment towards the $500.
Yes. So I'm going to break that down a little bit more. So in the case that you normally struggle to pay back your bills, right? And for whatever reason, you get some money during the month. What I recommend is that whatever else that you plan on using that money for, if your statement due date is coming up pretty soon, take that money and put it into your credit card so long it's after your statement closing date. Yeah. Take that money, put it into your credit card, and you can go ahead and spend your credit card on that same day. But the fact that money went in, that's already considered a payment.
Yeah, it does.
I don't know if you're following. As long as money goes into the card, it's considered a payment. They don't care if you go ahead and spend that money 10 minutes after. As long as money is going in, it's a payment. If money is going out, you're spending. Yeah. It's easy as that. And the pro tip number 3 I'm going to give you, and I personally believe this is the most important one to me, is never go above 1/3 of your total credit limit. So we're not saying that you can't spend more than 1/3 of your credit limit, but never let more than 1/3 of your credit limit close on your statement closing date. Yeah. So to break that down a little bit more, because I know some people are like, what are you talking about? What is statement closing date? What is this? To break that down a little bit more, I personally have a credit limit of $1,000. Every month, I try not to let more than $300 close on the statement closing date. So within the month, let's say from the 1st to the 24th of the month, I can spend $700. But on the 24th of the month, I can decide to put in $400 into my credit card, just so that the amount I will reflect on the 25th is just $300. Yeah. So if you spend more than 50% of your credit card and it's closing every single month, more than 50% in January, more than 50% in February, more than 50% in March, what the credit department is going to think is that this person is a debtor.
The person spends
a lot of money and they're not able to pay it back. Yeah. That's what they're going to think of you, that you spend too much. But if you spend less than 300, they're going to be like, whoa, this person is literally spending good. Like, we would like to loan you more money. Then they start coming to you to be like, take 2,500 credit limits, take 5,000 credit limits. I mean, if you want to take it, but
yeah, typically, you can control how much reflects on your, statements.
Yes.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Yes, I know this has been a lot of information.
I know, yeah.
But the 3 most important things that you should take away is know your statement closing date, which is the day that your statements for that month will close.
Yeah.
Know your payment due date, which is the last day that you can make payment. And know your minimum payment or your full balance, depending on what you decide to pay.
Also remember, avoid interest, because that is very important.
Avoid interest. So feel free to ask us more questions in the comment section below, because we might be able to do like a part 2 of this video, because I know that it's a lot of information. It could be hard to actually comprehend, but this is what took us a while to actually be perfect on this. So please feel free to just ask us questions, and we'll definitely love to do a part 2 for you. Let us know if you enjoyed this video and you'd love to see more of this kind of videos on my channel, and have a wonderful day
and week.